Welcome back into Clay and Buck. So we were talking about this. It's not a controversy. It's just CNN having a hissy fit, as they tend to do. And our friend Ryan Girdusky, who knows the numbers and is a very astute, very talented political analyst, we'll have him joining us here shortly. We can track him down on the phone. He's had quite a 24 hours. Banned a la Clay Travis from CNN. So Clay is going to give him a special high five. Clay, do you have like a secret decoder ring or a special hat you're going to give him or something that signifies his joining the group of the band from CNN?
I will say that it's probably the best thing that ever happened to my career,
Yeah.
honestly. And my advice for anybody out there, certainly in media, and we've got a lot of media people who listen, is just don't apologize. And that's the one thing I would say that's different than what Ryan did because he apologized. Like they don't actually ever want an apology. Now, look, if you say
Yeah.
something that you didn't intend to say, that's different. But that was a
Right.
joke. Like if you don't like the
Yeah.
joke, it's not my
Exactly.
problem. It's on you.
I would just say also, as somebody, I was a look. Fox didn't hire me. I was at the Blaze. There was a whole thing. Couldn't be at the Blaze and Fox. CNN didn't care. This is many years ago. So I've never been paid a dollar by Fox News in my life, which I think shocks some people, but I don't care. And I went to CNN as a political contributor for a couple of years. And it started out, Clay. I was doing terrorism analysis, and they actually, because I was CIA, CTC, Iraq, Afghanistan desks, like knew something about something. NYPD Intelligence Division, working counterterrorism cases. I could do that analysis at the highest level, and they recognize that. And they would have me on with like Paul Cruikshank and like different professors and people who, and quite honestly, I do more about the subject matter than almost all of them, if not all of them. So that was fine. And then Trump starts winning in the primary, and they go, "We need more people. We need more people who um, are going to be taking a political point of view that is supportive of Trump. Are you okay switching into that mode?" And I will just tell you what happened when I said yes, and I started appearing as a Trump. I'm not a surrogate, right? Because that's official, but as a pro-Trump voice on the network, is everything became I'm there to be dumped on and treated poorly and mocked, essentially. And people say,
Yep.
"Oh, will you fight through it?" No. If you have a host and a guest, and they're both rabid anti-Trump partisans, and they're both going to talk over you, and it's their show, there's very little that you can do, right? There's very little that is going to be able to get around that or over that. And what you realize after a while, what I realized, by the way, CNN, we're talking to Ryan about this, tried to extend my contract. And I said, absolutely not. I would rather not have a job in TV than do right wing analysis or conservative analysis at CNN. And it was a proud moment for me, Clay. I should have just gotten banned. So I'm a little sad about that. Ryan Girdusky is with us now. Ryan, dude, we think you're great. And this audience knows you're super talented political analyst. We just wanted to give you a moment here to tell us kind of your view of what went down.
The thing is when you do TV, right? When you do cable news, for anyone who like doesn't know what the process is like, the producers will text you like a few hours. When I say a few, like it was maybe an hour before the show, where they'll send like a bunch of ideas that they're going to talk about, and then they rechange them all, and then you have to sit there and know about things, learn about things you don't know about, read articles you haven't known about. So we were supposed to do this whole thing on foreign policy, and I was prepared for this whole entire thing, and then like no joke, 45 minutes before the show starts, I get a text saying, or I have to be there rather, I get a text saying, "Hey, we're just going to do 2 segments on the rally." So I'm like, great. 2 segments of them sitting there and screaming that Trump's a racist. Cool. Then we get into the show, and the woman sitting next to me, Ashley Allison, she sat there, and while the whole clip was playing of Kill Tony, the comedian, she's making comments like white man humor, which, by the way, like I would never say about another race, but if I did, I would be off before we even started. But, once again, dual thing. So we go to do the segment, and I said that on the show, I said, "Oh, everyone who went was being called a fascist on air." And Abby said, "That's not true." I'm sorry. If you're attending a fascist rally, aren't you a fascist? Was what Hillary Clinton said on CNN a couple days beforehand. But I guess some people don't watch CNN, including their own hosts. Then we go into it with Mehdi, and he said he
Wait,
called me
actually,
Nazi.
Ryan, can we play a clip of leading into your exchange really quickly and have you sort of continue the setup? This is cut 2, guys. Play cut 2. This was leading up to the joke that got Ryan banned.
I don't think the president could have expected not to do this massive rally, which quite frankly was historic. Came out there and the media is just, he's a Nazi, it's Hitler, and all this crazy stuff that they were saying. So I think in many respects that rhetoric is much, much worse than what you just played there.
Just to be clear, Hitler has entered the conversation because his chief of staff said that Trump, not the media, but Trump was the one who brought up Hitler.
And
in
5
private.
people who are there said it didn't.
Okay,
happen.
exactly.
Actually,
You're
Hitler-
mixing anecdotes. That's not what happened.
Actually, Hitler entered the conversation because his running mate actually compared him to Hitler.
Well,
That's
there's
when it
that
actually
too.
enters the
There's that.
conversation
That's not
years
why
ago.
that
No. That's how we brought Hitler into this conversation, because the person that Donald Trump picked to be his running mate compared him to Hitler.
Can I just jump in, Ryan? Because what I hear when I watch the whole segment is, oh, so it's actually Republicans' fault that Democrats are all shouting that Trump and all of his voters are Hitler. That's cute.
Right. Well, the thing was, I was really prepared for Mehdi to bring that up more than her, but I was like, the thing is when you're doing Seconds to Ashley, if you talk over her, she gets real quiet and you look like you're bullying her, which is the optics that she always goes for. So I knew I couldn't interrupt her because I didn't want the optics of, white man shouting at black woman. Totally what she constantly goes for in the victimhood card. She also said right when she's like, I just knocked on doors in North Carolina for Souls to the Polls. I wanted to be like, it was the worst Souls to the Polls in 25 years. So great job. But I didn't go in it because I was like, let's not be petty. Then we go to the whole exchange with Mehdi, and he said, we're Nazis. And then he said, Trump is quoting Goebbels, which I'm sorry. You can't say Trump is a fat orange moron all the time and then insist that he can quote Goebbels at the top of his head. You have to choose a lane. Is Trump an evil genius, or is he a fat moron? But they don't. They have this dual complex. So I was like, you, who of all people who are called an anti-Semite regularly, are saying that someone's an anti-Semite, someone who's, by the way, whose favorite child or one of their favorite children is Jewish, nonetheless, and yet still. Then he said, yeah, I've been called it by you. I was like, by me? By the way, I don't watch cable news. I definitely don't watch MSNBC, which she has been on. The only time I turn on MSNBC is when Democrats are losing on election night and they're having full nervous breakdowns on air. That's the only time it's worth it watching MSNBC.
That's the best time.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So anyway, I'm not familiar with it. I Googled him right beforehand, and I was like, wow, this is some dark stuff over here. But I didn't spend a different significant. I've never tweeted him. I've never said he was an anti-Semite. I'm not really invested in his reputation. So that I was like, I've never called you that. And then he was like, yes, because I support Palestine. In the moment, because I was heated, I did hear him say Hamas, but he didn't. He said Palestine. And I said, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. It was just a joke in the moment.
I think, by the way, let me stop you here for a sec. I thought it was actually a really funny joke. I laughed when I heard it because obviously Hezbollah's been blowing up beepers. Mehdi Hassan has had many connections to anti-Israel commentary over the years. MSNBC bumped him. He said awful things about Jews before. If you're being called a Trump, if the Trump supporter is being called a Nazi and you are being compared to Hitler, it doesn't seem out of bounds to me to fire back with hey, you're a terrorist sympathizer. I hope that your pager doesn't explode. To me, that was kind of funny. So what has the reaction... Yeah.
Abby wanted to bring down the temperature. She's like, Ryan, stop. And I was like, okay, because I'm respecting the host. It's her show. So I bring it down. Ashley increases it. Mehdi is being a drama queen. So I apologize because I want to bring down the temperature in the room like Abby asked me to. But that doesn't happen. Listen, I'm a regular guy. If someone insults me and then they say, listen, I'm sorry, I stepped over the line, I forgive them. I walk it off. It's nothing. It's 2 seconds, whatever. He was just all over it. So then...
Oh, he was kind of just Ryan. He's such a baby.
No,
are you saying I should die? It's like you made a joke and you actually said that you're glad that he's safe.
Well, he didn't say, "Are you saying I'm a terrorist?" He's saying, "I'm glad you. Do you say I should die?" Which would imply I think I'm a terrorist. But that's nonetheless, and yet still, the British accent doesn't hide the lack of intelligence. So The thing is that we go into the commercial break. He storms off. It was really quiet. Abby's like, "Is he leaving?" And then Ash was like, "I think Ryan should leave. I've texted the producers Ryan should leave." And Abby's like, "Ryan, could you step out?" And I was like, "Okay." And I told her, "Listen, I didn't mean to embarrass you. I hope you don't get in trouble with the higher ups. Abby's never done anything wrong to me." Told the producer, "Hope I don't get you in trouble. Didn't mean to do it. Sorry if I acted unprofessional." And I left. It wasn't a big deal. Like, I'm not going to start like a war over it. I'm certainly not going to be sending press releases out as the Kamala Harris campaign has been doing today to the Washington Post about me, insisting that here I am, like, and I'm connected to JD Vance and, yada, yada. Like, they are so grabbing for straws.
What would have happened if you hadn't left? Like, would security have come and carried you out? I actually think that's kind of a funny question. See, Ryan, I think you remember I got banned from CNN for saying that I believed in the First Amendment and boobs. They banned me. Like, I'm not allowed to go on the air.
That.
So I've been here before where you say something on CNN and you're banned. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so my advice to you would just be, don't apologize. It's a joke. For a guy who was calling you and all Trump supporters Nazis and Hitler supporters, and the guy's got a way worse history of being an anti-Semite than anybody, almost in all of media. I would just own it and just be like, "Hey,
I'm never going to apologize again. It is what it is. It happened. It was a joke. Man the hell up. It's not a big deal. Like, no one died. No one got hurt. Calm down. They are deranged because they are afraid Trump's going to win. So
they also want to
wait,
be
wait.
victims. That's the thing. They dream of being like the way he recoiled, like, "Oh, I'm so offended."
I know. So he had the fainting salts out or whatever for himself. It was absurd. Ryan, can you stay with us actually? Because I'd love that we're going to have to do a quick one to be kind of a rapid fire. But while we got you, first of all, we want to stand with Ryan. CNN just banned him. It's like, happy birthday, Ryan. Subscribe to his Substack, National Populist Newsletter. Let's see how many subs we can throw to Ryan from that. Show that, if you go into the lion's den, people on the right are going to stand with you and support you. So that's on Substack, National Populist Newsletter. Ryan, can you stay with us and just run down the data for us for a few minutes? No more CNN talk. They're a bunch of lunatics.
Yeah.
Can I just tell everybody? I told you that, like, they were going to come for you. So
they did. You did. Everyone was like, "You'll never last." I mean,
because like if you go in there and you don't want to play the sort of the wounded duck for them. They eventually turn on you and the producers. It gets nastier in the green room, everything. So I'll come back. We'll come back and talk about what's going on with the election. Okay, so stay with us, Ryan, here for just a second. Our sponsor here is the Preborn Network of Clinics. As you know, the thing that the Democrats are the most united on is abortion, unfortunately. Kamala Harris's primary election message seems to be Nazism is what Trump represents, and abortion, abortion, abortion. It's happening all the time. It's tragic. The loss of life here is massive, day in and day out. Now, we're working to change hearts and minds as the pro-life movement. That's going on, too. But how do we save babies now, today? That's where the Preborn Network of clinics comes in. They work with women who are facing that choice about what to do with their unplanned pregnancy, and there's no judgment involved, just caring and love. They listen, offer support, and provide supplies to these women if they have the baby for up to 2 years after the birth. So leading up to birth and 2 years after birth to help these young women, and their families as they grow. This experience, by the way, is so often started with the ultrasound. And that's where I want you to think, first and foremost, that's the primary step that gets all this going. Preborn introduces that mother-to-be to the tiny baby growing inside her womb. And when mom has that incredible connection, that godly connection between mother and child, so often she goes, "Oh my gosh, of course I have to have this baby." And then Preborn is there to help. Each ultrasound costs Preborn just $28. If you can donate that amount, you would be helping to save a baby's life today. You can donate 5 times that amount. That would be 5 ultrasounds. It's $140. A couple of you listening, done very well, a lot of money, very much care about this issue, pro-life community, maybe $5,000 or $10,000. I know most of you, that's going to be a number that's far too much, but there are a couple of you listening right now who could donate that. It's entirely tax deductible. I've been to one of their clinics. I've seen the work they do. I've seen the mothers tearing up as they talk about how much they love their beautiful little boy or girl. And they were being pressured. They were being told, don't have this baby. And then Preborn stepped in. You can write the check. You can donate. You can help today. Go to preborn.com/buck if you want to donate online. That's preborn.com/buck. Or using your cell phone, dial #250 and just say the word baby. That's with your cell phone. Dial pound 250, say baby. Sponsored by.
Welcome back in, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Ryan Girdusky with us. Ryan, we appreciate you hanging on. Just a couple of minutes here before we close out. What would you say, as we sit here 1 week from Election Day, are the chances Trump wins, and what data are you paying attention to as our data guru?
Okay, so first things first, Nevada Republicans we're being told constantly that they would reduce their lead. They've only expanded it. It's about 40,000 ballots in. It's a 5.7% lead. So more and more and more they're getting out there, the harder it will be for her to capture the silver state. Every Republican state needs to start voting like Nevada. Nevada Republicans are voting like their lives depend on it. The other thing I'm looking at is in Pennsylvania right now. As of yesterday, 434,000 Republicans have voted. 20% of them, or 21% of them rather, are first-time voters. That's a huge deal. Those are voters that they're not eating away on Election Day. That's also super important. North Carolina, I'm looking to make sure that Republicans keep their lead and expand it. If Republicans get to a 75 to 100,000 vote lead in the absentees, they're going to win the early vote or come very close to winning the early vote. Super important. And then the last thing I'm looking at is the black vote. Black vote is at the lowest level in Georgia since 2004. It's the lowest level in North Carolina. It's down 4% in North Carolina, 1.5% in Georgia. Philadelphia returns are down 40% from 4 years ago. It's a big number they got to make up. It's down in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am looking at that. We don't have data as far as like the Muslim vote in Michigan. We don't have data to a lot of things in Wisconsin, but those are the big numbers I'm looking at.
Ryan, if you had to look at one thing that you're going to be following very closely the next few days that is going to increase the Democrat panic in terms of what we know from data, not polls, what would it be?
I would say Nevada, because it will be a sign for the entire West Coast, and I will see to make sure Republicans can close the gap to Democrats on absentee ballots in Pennsylvania. Those are the two big things.
And is this all a sign to you that the GOP and the Trump campaign get it this time around when it comes to the vote strategy?
Yes, they do. They're clearly chasing ballots. They're clearly hunting to get people out there. Vote early, vote often. Just try to sit there and get every person you can, especially the ones that aren't reliable. If they can't, remember to bring something for dinner, they can't be reliable to sit there and vote. Just make sure they get out and vote early.
Ryan Girdusky, everybody, go subscribe on Substack to his National Populist newsletter. Ryan, always good to have you, buddy. Clay and Buck stand with you. And Clay, we'll be back here in just a sec.